What's going on, fam? This is KR Jones of the Off the Strength podcast, and I am here to tell you to like, listen, subscribe, and if you're feeling freaky, visit offthestrength.com. That's where you can go and get more information on us. That's where we can link, we can build, we can connect, and let's make this thing work. I'm realizing that there is a ripple effect in my path to success that I have played in other people's lives. There are people whose lives that could have been completely different in trajectory had our paths not crossed. You can pinpoint that to friendships, to business relationships, to actual relationships, you name it. And I had to sit back and I had to hold some gratitude for it. That's some powerful recognition.
Jealousy holding enemies hostage. Eventually the penalty will come and haunt ya. Hennessy memories leaving me nauseous, but the Hennessy makes the melodies awesome. So instead of me talking, I'm steady jotting and steady plotting. I had a game spaghetti toppings, you know that Parmesan.
To have such a presence, to be able to not only see the benefits and the rewards that people get from just me being around. Second realization was you have to clap for other success even when it's taken off before your own. And what's meant for them ain't meant for you. Because what's meant for you ain't meant for them, regardless of how similar your goals might look. And I think a lot of times people get caught up in that.
Niggas already trying to bite styles. You break a tooth if you bite down, bitch, I go way too hard. I've been in this hood, dog, for way too long, man. I've been quiet for way too long. Been patiently waiting, can't wait too long, dog. I've been broke, man, for way too long. No hot water for way too long. You can't knock the hustle, it's way too strong. Man, we way too strong.
What's good, everybody? What's good? Welcome back to yet another episode of Off the Strength, where we're giving you the inside look into all things wellness culture. I'm a trainer called Tony, and of course, with me, I got a gentleman of extraordinary league.
KR Jones is in the building.
That's right, folks. We are back. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all type, you are now in store for a treat because it's the return of the variety show. That's when we give you our best foot forward. So hopefully you take your best foot forward. You do that two-step, that tango, whatever it is you need to do to make it on through the week with the best goddamn wellness information available.
Down here, it's our time. It's our time down here.
Yay!
That's right. And Brother Jones, come in with open arms and just so much love into the room, my man.
Always, man. You know I lead with love.
You do. You do.
Everywhere I go.
It's a very particular brand of love, but it's love nonetheless.
Tough love, man. That's all I know.
Can you
from the streets.
Let the good listeners know what's been going on with this. You from the streets and the love you've been giving this week, man.
Oh, man. It's been a rough week, but I have somehow managed to find my way through the madness up to the top. You know, I had a hard reset, Brother Tone, you know.
Tell me about it.
Sometimes you got to sit back and have a little recalibration, you know, and lean into the energy and the circumstances that only you can control.
Man.
You know what I mean? And that's the real talk right there. Other than that, you know, I did my first lap around Prospect Park because, you know, I'm an all-year rider, so I ride the bike all year round. So
shout out to all those riders out there.
You already. So right before the snow, I snuck in a nice little lap around Prospect Park, dusted some old cats. You know how that go, but it was smooth. It felt good to be back on the bike, back riding and, you know, training a client outdoors. You know, all the good stuff, man. Soaking up scenery.
I like that, man. I like that. You know, I, too, took a couple strolls around the park, but I am not on the bike just yet, man.
No, you a stroller right now.
I was strolling, but I did go off the beaten path, Jones.
Always.
I had to go up into the top of the top, walking through all of the different terrain over there, really testing this ankle out, and I would be happy to report to you, my man, I'm getting stronger inside here, Brother Jones.
As you should.
I got to test this unbeaten path because it's going to be the thing that we forge forward and really start to explore coming into this next year, man. I really want to let people know what we got in store for this FBN, my man.
Might buy the mall just to show you what I got in store.
Come on, these forest-bathed Negroes out here. That's what we doing. And as we coming in here, man, you know I always got to give you the best of the week. I got to give you my shout-outs coming through. So first things first, shout out to the family. I'm talking about the family, Kyle. You know, we reuniting with the brother TB Elite, Troy, and his wife Shantel Brooks on their podcast From the Crown Down, man. How you feel about that?
Oh, you know, I'm ready to get my pod on. I've been polishing a nice little gem to drop on them, you know what I'm saying? So I am ready to get my two-step and tango on another pod, because we OPP.
We always about other people's pods.
There we go.
That's what we coming in with,
there
man.
It is.
Reunited feels so good on some peaches and herb type tip, man. Can't wait. Also got to shout out Paris of the BK Yoga Club for being featured on the new Nike app. I just saw her pop up today. She was featured in the yoga section on the app, so I had to give her some props on that side. I got to shout out to Deja Riley for being on the Mirror app. And I got to shout out my brother Andre Cruz, that is, who's going to be pulling up pretty soon. And he is doing all types of fun things on Ladder. Kyle, I was telling you last week that we got people all outside here that are really running what this fitness industry is about. And they've been day one with the Off the Strength constituency, man. I'm happy to see that.
Likewise, so that was when you asked me if I knew people on the app and I shouted myself out.
Nah, you were supposed to shout yourself out. We're keeping that same energy.
Oh, always. You know what I mean? But we do know people in the streets is doing the goddamn thing. So shout out all of them. I'm getting a little shout out in now.
As you should.
Now that I'm here, I'm going to shout out my homie, over at Good Part. This is a Baltimore juicery. As you see, I have the merch on right now. The listeners can't see it, but this is the merch that I have on. So if you in B-More, you got to go to Good Part Co. They are opening their second location on the Johns Hopkins campus.
Okay.
January 17th.
Oh, man, that's that B-More BK out there, brother.
Come on, man.
Giving that good juice.
The juice.
The Hugo.
In the streets.
I like it.
That's all I got.
All right, cool. We'll keep it moving on that side.
That's it.
I like it, man. They got the juice now, Kyle.
You already.
And then after that, bro, I want to jump right on into this next part. We got to tell people about what it is that's going down this week on this Ask the Professionals, Brother Jones. So now, Kyle, I had a question come into me, and I wanted to know about working out when you are stressed out. I want to know what it feels to be stressed out.
I really know how it feels to be stressed out, stressed out.
When you face to face with your adversity, you understand where I'm coming from, Brother Jones, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, you mean every day on the wake up?
Every day on the wake up.
Oh, man, just waking up in the skin that I'm in?
You know, that's how it's coming in, bro. So, Kyle, is it a good idea to work out when you're feeling mentally stressed and fatigued?
You goddamn right it's a great workout.
Tell me about it.
You got to understand that you have to do something with that energy.
Don't stress that because it's not in your bloodstream, your whole being.
If you are pent up, if you have animosity built up, if you feeling some type of way, you got to find your way to the gym. I call it squatting your frustrations.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Pushing past your problems.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Lifting I ain't got nothing else for
perception.
that. There
I'm
we
going
go.
with that.
That is. You know what I'm talking
pressing
about.
The standards. In other words, you raising the bar.
See, now,
I see what you did.
You picked up what I put down.
Come on now.
But on the real note, I did a study in college where we found that if you curse when you work out, you can lift more than you typically would without cursing. So next time you go to the gym, let out a couple F-bombs, you know what I'm saying? Make sure it's a safe space before you do that. But yes, you should work out when you're stressed because then it will actually alleviate that stress that you have.
I don't know how, but some way I was involved in that study too. So shout out to that dude that was running that. Dr. Spear on that side. You want to survey the scene before you start
Make sure there's no babies around, no kids, no old people.
But the exercise in and of itself releases endorphins, which will calm you down by itself, right? So that's another part that came out of that study. And it's also shown that you can channel that stress into something that's productive and not let it boil over and be misdirected upon people who are just trying to help you out. Now, Brother Jones, I want to tell you that it feels like you be directing some of that stress towards your brother over here. You was talking about my ashy hands.
Oh, never. You came, that was your problem. I just put it on high alert that you needed to address it.
I appreciate you addressing that, and I appreciate you letting everybody know. And if they needed to know any other parts about this exercise and what the benefits are going to be, where should they go, Brother Jones?
On IG at offthestrength_ and online at offthestrength.com. That's where you can get up with us. That's where you can get all the information. That's where you can ask us a question, and we might just read it.
Exactly. And if you do, we'll make sure that we'll keep you plugged in on the 411. Much like we got to keep people informed as we push on through into this next segment. Brother Jones, it is time. It is time for that rip from the headlines, man. Keeping up with the theme from the ATP question. I want to talk about making people feel happier, making people feel kinder, and making their mental health really start to be something that we put as a priority coming into 2022. So I saw in Entrepreneur magazine 8 natural wellness habits that will help keep you mentally healthy and happy. I had to pause. I had to give that a quick little read over, and I had to put it in the good this week, Brother Jones.
You know, I appreciate that. And I think that if you really get a chance to know yourself, you might need more than 8. But if you need a place to start, this sounds like a good place to start.
Well, we already kind of covered one in the first part. So they do say that exercise is going to be one of those things that do definitely have positive impact on your overall psychology. But they also go into detail about practices of gratitude, practices of mindfulness specifically, and also finding your group and being socially active, which I think we do all of these things to manage the stress. Brother Jones, how do you feel about this?
I couldn't agree more to everything that they're saying. I see one of them, number 3, is setting boundaries.
Yes.
And we shout out to Brother TB, the back pocket Brooks out here.
He always has the stick in the back pocket.
Always has the stick in the back pocket to let you know that you ain't crossing these boundaries, drawing that line in the sand. And I think that is something that we always talk about. And people say they do it, but they don't really be doing it because they ain't consistent with it.
Nah, man, they talk a good one, but they don't be doing what they supposed to, Kyle.
I mean, that's just a fact.
It's hard to navigate, in particular because the terrain is always changing, Kyle. Now, as we move through, I got to warn you about some of the stuff that's coming up ahead. So I want to stay on the topic of mental health, but now we got to switch over to mental health in the metaverse, Brother Jones.
In the what?
In the metaverse.
What you said about my mama?
I saw an article come across inside the Wall Street Journal about metaverse effects on your mental health. And is this going to be something that is trivial, or is it going to be something that we should be troubled about? Now, Kyle, everybody at the top of the year has been talking about these new buzzwords of what's going on with the metaverse, man. What's your thoughts on what's happening right now?
I'm currently not in the metaverse. Plan to keep it that way as long as I possibly can. But I see what people are doing. It looks wild. It's the video game world, the virtual reality world, all colliding with the real world. I've seen Ralph Lauren has a store in the metaverse, and they selling polos.
Lamborghini just licensed a couple of their cars. Snoop has some property that he's building on specific metaverse spaces. So this is something that's very topical and people are investigating, right?
For sure.
So when you start to look at what is happening, Kyle, we are on the preface of the next version of the internet as we know it being born right now, right? Yep. So if you rewind all the way back to, let's say we was going back into the 90s and somebody was telling you about .com era and you got in at the bottom level, what would you have been doing right now, currently?
You wouldn't know me. I promise you. I would be missing somewhere.
And then fast forward to the 2000s when social media became web version, the next one. How would you feel about that if you got in on the ground level right now?
Once again, you probably still wouldn't know me, and I would just be out here collecting money, counting chickens.
I'm mad at you getting your come up and then stopping knowing me, man. I was going to talk to you the whole time through this whole situation. I'm seeing the theme, and I want to let you know.
Well, you said hypothetically if I would have got in then, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. But yeah,
I want to let you know hypothetically you are affecting my mental health coming into this next space because I'm trying to show and tell my brother about where the next generation of this web is, and he keep telling me how he's planning on leaving me actively.
I know it was you, Fredo. You broke my heart. You broke my heart.
Nah, man, I'm just stating the facts. But other than that, no, have you seen Ready Player One?
Yes, I have.
That was, I think, an accurate portrayal of what it would look like in the metaverse, even though it was, a video game. But I do appreciate that they had something like a morale. Like there was a good ending. There was someone that was doing good despite being in this virtual world and the evils that are there. So hopefully we have more of that.
And that's exactly the kind of conversation that we want to have, right? So the lines are being blurred between this reality and this digital landscape. And inside of that, we don't know necessarily if things like piety, if things like intention, what makes good interaction in the real world are going to transfer over to that. And that's kind of what this is foreshadowing. If you have so much time in a digital atmosphere, which has already been shown to kind of give people increased rates of anxiety, what is more immersion into that environment going to do? So this is why this isn't questionably bad for me, Jones.
No, it has to be questionably bad. And I think you hit the hammer on the nail exactly. If, things like social media have already shown to trend for people to have a negative reaction to it. When you go full into
complete immersion.
Complete immersion. I don't know what that's going to look like. It's going to look like an Avatar. It's going to look like a lot of the movies that did not do so well.
If you don't go find your own truth in America, you will not grow up with the truth. Unless your dad gave it to you or your mom gave it to you.
I want to see everybody raising the bar, quite literally.
Did you say raise the bar, Tony?
You know I did, man.
Was that intentional right there?
It was a lie, buddy. Come on, you supposed to go right at 2 hands. 2 hands, throw that thing down.
2 hands for safety. You know me. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of, man, Ja Morant, have you seen that young brother out here?
Come on now.
He got that block with 2 hands. That was completely off topic, but man, that was nuts.
Going out the bounce, Jones.
The athleticism of that young man, you know why? Because he's raising the bar, Tony.
Exactly.
And that's what I am here to do. As we get up out of that ugly, we're going to slide right into our Raising the Bar segment today.
Okay.
Now, Brother Tone, for the faithful listeners of the show, you know I often talk about my ritual at the end of the year. You remember what I was talking about?
You talking about that letter that you write to yourself?
Every year, man, I write a letter to myself at the end of the year. So I went back and read my 2020 letter to myself. I write it. I take roughly about like the month of January. I stretch it out, and then I only read it at the end of the year or the beginning of the following year.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of let it be, get out all my frustrations, whatever, what I'm hopeful for, all the above. So I say that to say that as I was reading my 2020 letter, I realized that I was high as hell on some faded fruit, and which notably is why I switched from writing the letter to typing it so that I could actually read it. Because when I was writing it, you know, it's a damn shame that we was forced to learn cursive and penmanship and all this other stuff in school. We don't even write as a society no more. That's the first problem that I had with that. I'm getting off topic.
Nah, I like you getting off topic there because there was a bunch of nuns that was giving me a lot of smoke for writing in
the
cursive.
G and the accents and all this
damn
other
thing that I have to do with that
what
no
we
more.
Writing right now? We ain't writing nothing. We did all that. Kids don't even learn cursive no more. It's a dead art, right? I digress. So as I'm reading this letter, I'm sitting back and I'm just like, damn, I'm really recalling all of 2021. I'm like, yo, that shit went by fast. And no stretch of the imagination, as Kyrie Irving once said, that it just went by. It was just like that. So now I have to reflect. And I'm sitting here and I'm just taking this internal appraisal of like, what can I find? The thing that I led into was the gratitude we talked about earlier as a healthy mental way to reset. And I just found so much gratitude in the year of 2020, despite what happened. And I'm like, damn, I got to lean into that again for 2021, right? Despite how I was personally feeling. So I'm looking, I'm like, yo, I'm realizing that there is a ripple effect in my path to success that I have played in other people's lives, right? There are people whose lives that could have been completely different in trajectory had our paths not crossed, right? And you can pinpoint that to friendships, to business relationships, to actual relationships, like you name it. I can be drawn back to being a catalyst to things coming together.
An agent of change he's talking about.
Every single time. And I had to sit back and I had to hold some gratitude for it. Like that's some powerful recognition to have such a presence, to be able to not only see, but to see the benefits and the rewards that people get from just me being around, right? That was the first realization. Second realization was you have to clap for other success even when it's taken off before your own, right? And what's meant for them ain't meant for you. Because what's meant for you ain't meant for them, regardless of how similar your goals might look. Oof. And I think a lot of times people get caught up in that, right? There's the long game and then there's the short game. And most people are short-minded because we in this microwave time period that we in. But the long game is just that. It's filled with bumps and bruises and other bullshit. And hopefully that you come out victorious on the end for a purpose that's bigger than yourself if you playing the long game, right? Man. So then I had a third realization. Third realization is that it's okay to be frustrated. Much like how you stated before, it's a great place to start, man. It's a terrible place to stay. You can't stay frustration. Frustration only comes when your expectations aren't met. I didn't get this outcome is usually the through line to where frustration can start at. It's because you didn't get the outcome that you didn't want. Once you identify this frustration, you then have the goddamn obligation to put new energy into a circumstance that only you can control. Because if you can't control it, then that's your problem, right? So now you got to figure out, is it outreach? Is it planning? Is it starting over? Is it destroying and rebuilding, as I often said? Is it creating space for something else that you might need that you didn't even know you needed? Damn. Whatever the case may be, only you can get yourself to that next level. Now, those were my three realizations based upon me just reading my letter to myself about 2020, right? And then I had to then write what I did in 2021, which I personally felt like wasn't shit. But then I was like, you know what? Actually, it kind of was. My mindset, my value, the way that I think, the way that I approach things, where I invest my time, energy, money is completely different than when it was a year ago. or 2 years ago. So I had to be thankful for that. Now, am I sitting on the M's and the mills and do I got the Rollie and all that I think I deserve? Of course I don't. But in true value, I know where I'm at and I know where I'm going because I'm playing that long game. Brother Tone.
Yes, sir.
After I just laid all that out, I got to come to you. I got to come in hot. What is your personal reflection strategy? Being as though that we are here in the top of the year and people do need, something to help them get their best foot forward, so they can do their two-step, their tango, whatever it is they need to do to get where they need to go.
Yeah, man.
What you got?
Brother Jones, first of all, you just took us to the sermon again, man.
That's what I'm here for.
I appreciate the whole pathway through which you break down how you approach the situation. I gotta say, it's commendable, man. Now, for myself, I have been doing a lot of work with the artist way. So I've been practicing daily journal habit as a path of reflection. I've been practicing a lot of walking and trying to really just meditate and reflect in motion about the things that didn't go right. What was the opportunity that I had inside there? What was the thing that I could have done differently? What area could I have really improved upon for myself? Not necessarily looking at it from a lens of judgment, but looking at it for that lens and that opportunity for growth. In addition to that, I say that, you were joking around earlier, but I truly do believe that I am the amalgamation of all of my friends and the people that are in my true cohort. In that, one of the best things for me to be in the moment of gratitude for is to reflect everybody that influences me in that space. And Brother Jones, you are one of those people that is my closest contemporary person that I truly do collaborate with the highest level of frequency. So I see these things and I emulate that, even if it is not necessarily looking exactly the way that you do it. I find a way to tailor and put some tone sauce on it. You understand what I mean?
What would Jones do?
What would Jones do? And then I probably take it to like 85. I can't go to that last quarter.
Never go for Jones. That is exclusively for me and me only.
And that's what I want to champion you for in this direction, because, when you put your full self into your reflection, into your art that you create, into the people that you do make those ripple effects for, your presence is undeniable, and your impact, even if it's not getting the effort that you think it needs to get right now, you can't say it's not heard, brother. So I want to champion you in that direction. And because I am also living in my friend's reflection, I remember back a couple episodes, 2 in a row to be specific, you took your spin on a rip from the headlines. And now, Kyle, I got to hijack this segment for a second.
Oh, you about to raise the bar?
Because I got to raise the bar right now, and I got to bring it right back in there. And it comes in on the same kind of sentiment, Brother Jones. So I want to take in and synthesize as much inspiration from everybody that's around me and try to turn that into the work that I will do that is true for me, right? So I'm focusing on trying to be an instrument for my work instead of being an author for my work, Kyle. Now, when you start to think about it through that way, as the instrument, you have to be willing to at least start your work and continue to make your efforts in the absence of light, often when you're getting in towards your direction of mastery. I had this time to sit back and reflect and think about all the things. It was like, used to be previously, I would have issues where I'm not getting recognition for doing this thing that I thought was great. We talked about many different examples on the show. Or I'm trying something brand new for the first time and I'm dropping the ball here. I did this and I did that. And it can get you into that negative cycle. But realistically, when you think about that ripple effect, when you think about what you learn from all of those mishaps and everything else, collectively, anything that I'm doing today is the best in class of all of those experiences. So I got to ask you, Brother Jones, after you had this reflection and after you had this time to synthesize all this information, what are you willing to continue to do in the absence of that light so that when you do get your glory, you're doing the best in class of everything?
That's heavy right there.
Come on now.
And I appreciate you in this Raising the Bar segment. But before I even get into that, we're not going to slide past you dropping amalgamation twice.
2 times.
That's
the word of the day. You remember like Pee Wee Herman, all that shit? You got to go crazy when you drop the word.
Well aware. I see. I was like, where he just going to throw that out there twice?
Come on.
Just throw it on the table.
Step the game up.
I remember when it was thrown on us.
Yes.
And how we felt.
And now I synthesized that.
That's a full circle moment right there. That's what I wanted to recognize first and foremost. Secondly,
putting the pressure on Gerson right now.
We ain't gonna talk about that croissant right now, all right? we gonna slide past that. But what I do want to get back to is I appreciate you, brother, in this Raising the Bar segment, and always for seeing me the way that you do. To get into exactly the instrument and the author, man, that was powerful right there. Just because I feel like I'm taking the idea of being an instrument. We think of it as musical, but instruments are like tools for surgery. It's pretty much something that sits there and is waiting to be used by someone else for better, for worse, whatever the case may be. So it's like it's a vessel. And I've always felt as though that was the conclusion that I had to come to of I am just a vessel for other people. If you can find success in the path that I'm going to find my own success, then that's just what it needs to be. I can't sit here and be mad that you got more popping than I did, or you got these followers, or you got this deal and you got that. Like, fam, that's not what I was striving for. If it was, then I would have had it already. And because it's not, then I can't be mad at an outcome that I didn't try to overcome. You know what I mean?
Adjusting that expectation.
Like, I just can't be.
Yeah.
So I think if more people can take that time to sit back and realize that, like, yeah, you can be the main character in a story, but you could also just be a part of a story. You know, you could be a part of a larger story instead of this one that is so focused on you and you being the focal point, you know? So I appreciate that, man. And if I was to say, what could I do in the absence of light? I've been doing it, man. That's not something that has to change. Honestly, I think that I can sit back and look at folks and people see me and it's like, yo, this is my everyday. This is what I wake up and do. I'm not doing this because I'm getting paid to do it. I don't dress the way I dress because someone is paying me for this. Like, this is how I feel. This is how I woke up. This is how I choose to express myself. And I'm going to do this till the day I can't, you know?
So you're saying you're doing it off the strength?
Off the strength, goddammit.
Boom! There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
That's it, man. After that, man, all we can really do is, you know, think about how we can relax responsibly because there's a lot of energy in the room now. So we gotta bring the energy down to a simmer, just a little bit. So, brother, man, tell me how you've been relaxing responsibly this week.
Man, well, first and foremost, I got to shout out to El Boogie, Lawrence Santiago, for her birthday. You know, the events that took place, I'm not going to go into the specifics that happened on that day.
Oh, really?
But I will say happy birthday to her and all the friends that was outside on there. That was one chapter in the relaxation, you know.
Happy birthday to her and Natasha.
Happy birthday to her and Natasha as well. You know, hopefully they all are doing well wherever they may be. But Kyle, I got a chance to relax responsibly this week. My man, I went out and got a TENS unit. Now, I know you know what I'm talking about.
You said you went and got what?
A TENS unit.
A TENS unit?
Yes, my friend.
No, you got to break that down.
Come on,
please.
man. You know the electromagnetic stimulation.
That's not where I was.
This is what I'm in.
I was somewhere else with it. Okay.
I am going high tech on this recovery, Kyle.
All right.
I'm going back into the bag for all the stuff that we learned in school, and I'm making myself patient zero, Kyle. And I'm telling you right now, by the summertime,
you bought your own.
I got a
the
TENS
personal
unit.
in the crib.
This is what I'm trying to tell you.
You out here playing with fire.
I'm about to come back on the field. It's a whole different game.
I'm gonna get you some breakaway pants.
You know, that's what I'm saying. I want to be in now. Your starting lineup from
6'1" with the fro-eyed guard we've got.
That's exactly what I'm trying to come
Tony!
You have to hit the SAP button at the end of that.
Yeah, for sure.
On some seriousness, you know, I've been rolling up and rolling out, and I'm trying to take all of my information that I have from college and really put that into my recovery strategy going forward. I'm getting all kind of green lights from the doctors because I know what to do to supplement whatever they're doing, and I'm relaxing as responsibly as I can with all the fit tech that I can bring into the situation.
Sounds like a good time, man. You still got any canna patches left?
You know I do.
My man, I might need to get one of those up off you. I mean, just for research purposes.
Listen, man, if I studied high, I got high on the test. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna get high grades.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole thing.
Heard. So I was relaxing responsibly this week by coming back to the teaching streets, brother.
Okay.
Again, I never really left BK Yoga Club, but what happened was, you know, a man got busy, so I couldn't teach the class that I was teaching. So I will be back Monday nights at 6 p.m.
Okay.
At Brooklyn Yoga Club. So I will go out, put that information up on the page, all the above. Starting on the 17th. 17th is going to be the day that I'll be back teaching. I'm actually going to be teaching tonight, which, the listeners ain't going to hear about that because I ain't promoting it. So it's only for the people that really show up. So much love to them, but I'll be covering that 7:15 tonight. Got the playlist is going to get you where you need to be.
Elevated.
So
I see it.
I'm just happy to be back in that teaching environment because, again, much like being that instrument, I realized that I am that vessel. And if a lot of people want to practice yoga the way that I practice yoga, I got to be the one to teach it.
Hey, man, I can't wait to get into that class. Now, I need a couple of modifications. I don't want you to come in leading with love after I got all this injury that I'm trying to work through. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you.
You be on your bullshit sometimes. I
Never.
just gotta no, with me, you do. With me.
Sometimes.
Yo, Tone, you want to go full headstand tonight, player? What you trying to do?
Man, let's do it.
He's like, fuck around and levitate.
Let's put the leg over
Tone.
the neck. You know what I'm saying?
See,
let's open the chakra up.
I'm just getting back in. I want the gradual progression. This is what I'm trying to tell you. I knew he was going to come in with the bullshit.
Just trying to get you to be the best you, man. That's all.
And I'm hopeful that I can get there one day. But my progression is going to have to be slow and steady, my man.
Slow and steady wins the race, man.
Why would I ever have to cop a chain again when the QB chain birthed most of chains in the game? No post office, we stamping time. Took a slice out of the big apple, made apple pies. Family sign. Run me the keys, run me the bees, run me that float back. The top 3, I'm not number 1. How could you post that? I would have crowned the city is mine, you cannot hold that. I'm not the one to go back. You fuck around me, Joe Black.
Live and direct from the block of the rock, Kyle. That's right. We are back here at Newsstand Studios. How you feeling today, my brother?
I'm coming off of a good week.
Talk to me about this week, my friend.
Got a visit from my cousin. You got that cousin who's like the brother, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he came in town, kicked it with him for a little bit. I got a visit from my boy Case, who moved out to Cali.
Shout out to Case.
My roommate from college. So he came in, got to kick it with him, and I was on that bike.
There's only but a few of the rarefied air that can do this.
There's real bikers, delivery dudes, and then there's me.
There's a chill that you have to have that gets into your bones in New York City that comes along with this ride and this weather. Yeah, it does.
Through me.
It shakes you right to the soul. I understand that.
On 2 wheels.
But what does it do for you when you get a chance to get in that ride, my man?
Oh, man, that's freedom right there. We always talk about that. To be able to run the lights is the best way to get around town. I don't have to wait for nobody else. And this time of the year, because it's less bikers out, in the summer, that's when it gets densely populated with all the, oh, my God, I want to ride this bike that's been sitting in my house for 5 years. No, keep it there and sell it because you don't ride it. Stay off the streets.
So the moral of the story is, riding with less dense streets is a good thing for you, apparently. I appreciate that, Kyle. Thank you for giving us your breakdown for the week. And
anytime. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it in that positive lane that you left us off in. And I had a pretty good week, too, my man. I had a chance to check out some friends doing some amazing stuff. And Kyle, that's always going to be the source of pure inspiration for me, my man.
Well, tell me more.
Well, I got a chance to check out the Human Inside Art Gallery, Kyle, and you got a chance to come along with me on that side. My man Michael Conroy over here, you had a chance to check out some of his art. What do you think about that, Kyle?
I got a chance to be in the building for sure, and it was very thought-provoking.
Yeah.
It wasn't that large of a space, but it was a lot going on, if you're picking up what I'm putting down.
Hell yeah, man.
So your eyes were constantly going from the left to the right, up and down, just trying to figure out the science, if you will. And as I sipped my nice wine, as I did all of that to the soundtracks of David Bowie.
There was some pressure. Pushing down on me, pushing down on you. Under pressure. That's what was going on inside there, man.
You can stay pushing over there, yo.
I got to shout out to homie Mikhail that pulled up over there, too. That's the bike life homie and also the fellow documentarian because I got a chance to kick it with him a little earlier that day. Grabbed some coffee with him. He talked to me about his documentary that he actually got a chance to go on and do. Now, I don't know if everybody remembers that my documentary was cut abruptly to a halt.
A screeching halt.
Yeah, right over the summer. I was doing so good right up until the point where the van, interjected in the scene. That was not what I accounted for, but nonetheless, I'm happy that the storytellers in this atmosphere are still going forward, and I'm happy to be a part of that, so I was happy to see that, brother, man. And Kyle, I got to shout out some of what's been going on in these Atlanta streets of fitness, my friend.
Hot Atlanta?
Hot Atlanta.
ATL?
ATL, don't disrespect it. I'm talking about, have you seen what they have been doing in these Atlanta group fitness exercise classes, Kyle?
I mean, I've seen a few, and I've seen the stuff that you sent me. Are we talking about one of those videos? Or?
So we're going to shout out to EJ Houston. Staying down EJ. That's the one that I'm going to focus on for today. Shout out to this brother for doing all types of amazing things. I want to say he's doing God's work down there, Kyle. I really want to put that on.
God's plan.
It was God's plan. The things that he's doing is truly divine. I feel like on the step, and I got to salute this man.
Okay.
So that's how my week has been going, and that's my shout out for this time, brother. How you feeling today? You got anybody you got to shout out?
Once again, I'm going to shout out KR Jones because I feel like he is that guy. You know, he's the one.
Okay.
If you need him, hit him up.
Tell people how to hit this brother up.
Oh, you don't say, man. If you visit Instagram at KRJones_, or if you go to offthestrength_, you can get in with either one of us.
We're going to move right along. You know what time it is. It's time to get into some of this ATP. And my brother, the first thing that I have to do and ask the professionals this week, I have to go back, and Kyle, I have to give you a topic that I had to say, seeing is believing. Now, Kyle, I believe you are a believer out here. Do you understand what I mean when I say that word and that phrase just like that?
I mean, if we're talking about the hood slang,
I believe you are a believer.
Yeah. I only believe it until I see it, until it's in my hands.
So you are a fan of one Justin Bieber is what you're saying.
I got my peaches out in Georgia. Oh, yeah, shit. I get my weed from California. That's that shit.
I do feel like somewhere that you could really
I'm gonna let
be
you
a
get
fan.
this off, but just know that don't ever disrespect me like that ever again. All right, so we go let that slide. That was your warning. Don't let it happen again.
So Kyle, I have been going back to the gym, right? And I have been seeing a lot of different things going on inside the gym. And sometimes, my friend, I'm afraid that some people are putting a little too much sauce in how they're showing up to the gym.
See, when I ain't had no money, I still had sauce. Mm-hmm. See, if you don't got no sauce, then you're lost. Mm-hmm. But you can also get lost in the sauce.
How you get lost in the sauce?
So to ask the professional question this week is going to be based on Justin Bieber over here as he is leaving a gym that shall not be named. But look at how this man is exiting the gym. Kyle, if you will, give me a little bit of play-by-play breakdown of what you're seeing over here. And you tell me, how much sauce is too much sauce when you go into the gym, brother?
All right, we starting from the top or we going from the bottom?
Start from the top.
From the top. He has it looks like a Supreme sleeve.
Yes, he does. A Supreme armband.
Now, that's a shooting sleeve.
Yes.
That was made for basketball players.
J.R. Smith in particular.
Allen Iverson made it famous with the shooting sleeve.
That one is J.R.
J.R. Smith made that famous because he got it tattooed on his leg, which was... I'm going to leave that alone. But nonetheless, yeah, this is not a good gym fit. He's got the Yeezys on, the Red Octobers, the dangling... I don't even know what that is, dangling. I want to say, is that his headphones?
Those are his drawstrings for his shorts.
Those are his shorts. Then he's lost. He's lost in the sauce.
Overdose of sauce. No meat, just sauce.
Can you be born with sauce, or do you acquire
No,
sauce?
you ain't born with sauce. How you gonna be born with seasoning? You gotta get seasoned. I wasn't born without this sauce. I had to acquire this sauce.
Redid my grill in July. That bitch like 4th of July. Fly Emirates to Dubai. Might just stay fly the new fives. I put your pop on Fox 5. Mr. 11 alive. My hood bang beats like a high. They might shoot dice with your life. It's suicide. You try Gucci. You must be stupid or high.
Is that what we was getting in? That he's lost in the sauce.
This is apparently too much sauce. How would
when
you know?
you getting into this
But look at his string is hanging out. His string is hanging out the Lambo.
I don't care what his string is doing. The man's got enough money to push this Lamborghini, right? His string can do whatever he wants. You know, that's too much sauce for some. For me, I wouldn't do it. I hope he slips and falls on that string, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, how would the layperson know if there was too much sauce on the outfit, Kyle?
You got too much sauce on your outfit. A sign would be if you're getting questionable looks in the gym. If you walk in and people are looking at you and you don't usually draw that type of attention, that's the first mistake, that your outfit got too much sauce.
Okay.
Second mistake is if you're getting overly complimented on your outfit, that means we would never wear that, but we glad that
somebody
looks
did.
good on you. So that's the second one. And the third would probably be if you're showing too much skin or you got something that's dangling or hanging down too much, you probably got too much sauce in your gym outfit.
Kyle, I appreciate you for informing these people as the professional that you are, my friend.
That's what I'm here for.
Sometimes I think that the people in this institution and in the White House are really losing contact and not knowing what's going on with the American people. In case you don't know,
Brother Jones, this has been a topic that we have talked about previously on this show. We've talked about people who had sad abs. Kyle, you remember that?
Of course.
That is the fitness folks that weren't necessarily feeling too happy about what they're doing. I mean, the professionals who are endowed with being in this industry to a high level are not always the happiest of folks. You remember that, right, Kyle?
I definitely do. We sat down with the good brother Todd.
Yeah, and Todd broke that whole situation down. So, Kyle, when I saw this week that a national survey is going out to explore the mental health and fitness of the workforce in the wellness sector, I had to put this in the good this week, my brother, because for the longest time, I've been trying to say that my fit folks were some of my folks that needed the most help. So I'm happy to see that at least the beginnings of investigations as to see how we can make them a little bit more mentally stable and make them hopefully financially stable in that direction. I'm happy to see these things are happening. What do you feel about this, my brother?
It's about damn time. I see why you put that in the good, because
it's good.
That was never a thing. So I'm happy that that's happening. I feel bad for the sad ab folks who might be fit but going through it and losing their shit simultaneously at the same time. So I'm happy that somebody's taking a deeper investigation into the psyche of the wellness profession.
Yeah, man, when you are responsible for other people's health, it should be the bare minimum that you can maintain your own health. I don't think that's too crazy of a task. You know, it seems like with everything that's going on in this industry, that could be the minimum of what we could deliver, my man. And moving from that, I got to look into something that's a little questionable. Now, Kyle, I saw in Fit Tech this week that Nordic Track launched voice-controlled dumbbells that work with Amazon Alexa. Now, just off the top of that, how do you feel about hearing this part?
That's the nastiest thing I heard in a long time.
See? Now, here we go. You know there's always going to be something that comes with the connected fitness devices, Kyle. I got to go through this. So, you know how the selectorized dumbbells used to be inside the house where you could dial up the weights and you could just say, okay, I want 50 or 100 pounds of
course,
resistance.
and they would just change, and they were interchangeable.
Yeah, okay, so it's that. It's just the remix to the updated version of that.
Of course.
Yes, and it works directly with Alexa. So now, why do you feel like this is a bad thing?
I feel like this is a bad thing for one. Again, you can be too connected. Like that is a problem that a lot of people don't realize. Like everything that I have at home is nice. It's a luxury to have, but there's a line that you have to draw. And then when I'm thinking about Alexa controlling my weight, I don't even know what that means. Does that mean it's going to fluctuate from the 20 to 30? Like
voice control. So if you were in the middle of a class, let's say, and you wanted to go from a light set to a heavy set, you could say it. And then, you know, with a certain amount of refractory time, you'd be able to pick up that light set, go right into the heavy set. So you'd be right inside the class, baby. You know, you're getting the sweat going, you're grooving, you're doing all the fun stuff. Kyle, why is this bad?
Again, I'm going to say the no, because fitness is still one of those spaces where I feel it's the last interpersonal relationship you can have. And now that working out from home has taken its toll that it has, I get it. It sounds good, but I don't have an Alexa in my home because I don't want her listening to my conversations.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of fed time on that side, man. You know,
for sure.
And there's not really a lot of discretion as to what it does versus doesn't listen to. So I can understand why that's going to land in the questionable this week, my man. And you know, Kyle, after we're talking about questionable equipment choices and things like that, now I sent you the ugly earlier this week because I thought it was one of the most hysterical stories that I saw coming out of Vice. Kyle, do you remember the story that I'm talking about?
No, man, lay it on me.
Kyle, we have talked in our Relax Responsibly conversations previously about percussion-based massage equipment. We have had this conversation, right?
We have indeed.
Okay, so now Vice magazine is saying that it's time to admit that one of the most famous percussion-based massage pieces of equipment is really just glorified sex toy. And apparently people have been going out of control, Kyle, and taking over the theragun and putting in their own molds and different types of attachment to this piece of instrumentation that is used for massage therapy, and they're doing all types of different things with this, Kyle.
I know that's right.
Can you imagine how far this has gone?
Yeah, no, this all sounds bad. Again, just because you can doesn't mean you should. It's always going to be what I lead with. It's a percussion gun that is meant for massaging out deep tissue that's stuck and clotted in the muscle. Not what these other people are using it for.
They definitely want deep tissue work as well, Kyle, but it's a slightly different thing, you know, and this is why we're gonna have to close this up on good.
Let's stay here for 1 second. Let's just hit me out. So you know I'm well versed in Friends, and shout out to Penda, the pro-ho.
Yes, shout out to Penda.
She works heavily in that sector, and she went to Vegas, and there was a whole tech conference on everything that you're speaking of.
Yes.
Of such devices, if you will.
I'm talking specifically about the theragun.
I'm talking about those type of devices, right? So there was a patch that you could put in your undercarriage.
Okay.
That would stop you from finishing early.
It's a different level of health.
Right? It was proven. It was non-surgical, nothing. You put this patch right in your undercarriage, stick it under there like gum under the table, and from there, you were then the king of the jungle. Brother Tone.
Technology is gone. Leaps and bounds.
For a lot of different folks.
Yeah.
You know, so that was the interesting thing that I saw. I was like, word?
So you're doing field research out here.
I'm doing my field research.
All right.
Not on the theragun, but other research.
More will be developed coming into this line of stories coming out of this week's We're From the Headlines, apparently.
Just had to leave that tab bit. So we're going to slide out of that right there. And we're going to slide into...
Yeah, that's exactly what they were doing with that theragun.
We're going to slide into raising the bar this week. No theragun included. You got to, accessories sold separately. Right?
Boy, were prohibited.
So raising the bar this week, man. I want to talk about a lot of different things. Amalgamation of my week, if you will.
Okay, I like it.
I'm going to break it down, spoon feed it to you. I'm going to start off with this one word before we go any further. That word is friendship, Tone. When I say friendship, how would you define someone being your friend or friendship as a whole?
Family that I got to choose. That's how I identify friends today.
All right.
And friendship would mean everything that family means to me.
Understood. So I'm going to start this off by saying it was that Friday, I want to say, I'm having my yoga session. So I've been bartering with a friend of mine, right? I have grown to call this person my friend.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm bartering private yoga sessions, and he's a tattoo artist. So we're exchanging in that way. So he's tatting up my leg, I'm building up his leg sleeve, and I'm giving him private yoga sessions. At the end of this session, he's like, yo, you got time to kick it for a little bit? It's like, hell yeah. He made me a nice little espresso. He pulled the bong out. You get a couple bong rips.
That opens up the day.
The day is open at that point, right? So we hit the bong, and we get into this conversation about art and life, right? And he starts to pull out all of the different art that he has. And I realized in that moment, we're really friends. I forgot, because sometimes when you have that business relationship, it's almost like, yo, we're business partners. That's it. I might see you on the weekend, but I ain't really kicking it with you.
Yeah.
Right. Fast forward to Saturday, the following day, I'm kicking it with another one of my homegirls. Hit her up. Yo, what you doing? She was like, yo, I'm listening to vinyls. I got a spin on Sunday. I'm just trying to see what I'm doing. I'm like, yo, I got these vinyls that I haven't heard yet that I purchased. Mind if I pull up? She was like, bet. I pull up, and two of our other friends come there, and we just had this moment of, we played Uno, we drank wine, the weed was out, we listening to music, and it was just like, yo, these are friends. We get to talking, and one of the guys there was like, I attended a Harvard talk, and the Harvard talk was for the Black Lives Matter movement. At the end of the presentation, the presenters opened up the floor for questions, and there was a woman there, and she was like, well, you always talk about we don't have any black friends and black friends. What does it mean to have a black friend? And she was like, well, have you ever cooked for somebody? Have you ever invited someone into your home? If you haven't done those two things, they're probably not your friend, because a friendship is an intimate connection. Of course, there's different levels of friends, but the ones that you pull close, like you said, if it's friends that I got to choose as family, that just resonated with me. I was like, yo, we throw the word friend around a lot. We're friends online, we're friends on Instagram, we're friends on Facebook, but in real life, have you been in my home? When you peel back that layer and realize how intimate of a thing friendship can be, it just kind of shocked me a little bit, and it really made me reevaluate my circle of oh, these are my friends, and these people that are outside of that circle, not to say that they aren't my friends, but we just have a different layer of communication, so to speak. So when I lay all that out, Brother Tone, talk to me. What's your immediate thoughts?
Well, one, thank you for the invite to all these friendship gatherings.
There we go.
I know what circle I'm now in.
You're a friend.
Through proxy of these.
Yeah, you are a friend of mine.
But in all sincerity, I think it's something that has to change with you as you mature through time. When you are young, you could be friends with somebody just because you did the same thing. Yo, you like Lego trucks? I like Lego trucks. We should be friends. And then sometimes later on in life, you get paired with people to be like, oh, this guy likes football. He likes football. You guys should be friends. It's like, wait a minute, hold on. There's probably a couple of different layers of what it actually means to build a relationship, to be responsible to, you know, the betterment of this person and what they may have to talk to you about, to confide in you with, and, you know, really try to last the test of time. That's really what I cherish, is that. So I would tell you that there's probably a lot of people who identify me as a friend, but I don't know if I necessarily would say that that's true in the inverse.
You can be friendly.
I could be friendly.
I'm a friendly person.
And I'm committed to being friendly, but I have very few friends. I have a lot of acquaintances, but the sincerity that I have around that word means that I have to guard that word as much as I can. So I do have very few of what I would call actual friends.
I couldn't agree more. And going back to my friend who I've been bartering with, I realized how much of a symbiotic relationship it was, right?
Yeah.
And we were mutually connected through art, because when I'm looking at a yoga session, like, and I'm pretty much unlocking this person's body, like, that's art. There's movement. Like, your body tells a story. Your body can tell you, you know, oh, from injury, from scars, from movement. Like, I can look at somebody's walk in their gait and be like, oh, his right hip is tight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the type of lens that you have when you're in this wellness game. So I don't have to know you to see what you look like mobility wise. But when I think about this relationship between the tattoo artist and myself, he's constantly sitting for hours at a time still. So the thing that he needs the most is not only the mobility, but then also the freedom of the mind to continue to create.
When you get more imagination, it makes you want to go deeper in, so you can get more and see beautiful things. And when you explore, you get more imagination.
When you're a tattoo artist, you're creating on so many different surfaces, because you have the skin as a medium, but then you also have your actual other means of modalities, whether it's pen, paper, however you draw it out, digitally. But it's so many different things. And when I was training him, he was like, yo, my mind feels so much better. And then my shoulders are unlocked too. I was like, see, that's the beauty in it, you know? But nonetheless, really made me reevaluate my friendship, because it was a rough week outside of, you know, kicking it with the friends. Like, that was Friday and Saturday. That Monday through Thursday was crazy in the dojo, finding the work, applying for jobs, all the things, you know, and it made me realize how important my friendships were, because I had that to fall back onto and to rely on. And you know, the good brother Mike Flo.
Shout out to Mike Flo.
Mike Flo always dropping the deep science out here on individuals. He had posted something the other day talking about in shamanic societies, when people were complaining of being disheartened, dispirited, and depressed, what the shaman would ask that person. So the shaman would ask, when did you stop dancing? When did you stop singing? When did you stop being enchanted by stories? And when did you stop finding comfort in the sweet territory of silence? And I was like, damn, those are some real ass questions. And I find myself dancing in the mirror all the time when there's a funky groove on. That's just kind of how I give it up in the crib. I'm always singing, rapping. I hit high notes on the pod all the time. And I feel like storytelling is not only a way to feel better when you have some shit on your chest, but then also to learn from other people. And you realize, yo, I'm not the only one going through this. Like, there's other people that feel the way that I feel, you know? And then being able to sit in that silence, of course, is the real gift, because if you can't sit with yourself in your mind, in your own thoughts, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, you end up getting arrested in your development often. You know, there's a lot of people that you could see, if you trace back to what that incident of that trauma was that made you stop sitting in your thoughts, that's kind of where you stop progressing in a lot of different ways, you know? So I only know that because I've lived through that, man, and I can totally understand the value of that sacred silence that you're talking about.
Look, man, dancing, singing, storytelling, and silence will get you about whatever you need to get up out of.
Okay.
That's it for my Raising the Boss segment, brother. How you feel about it?
I like where you're taking the people, man. You're giving them some of the good tools that they need to advance past the sticking points in life, Kyle. I appreciate that.
That's what I'm here for. I'm trying to give you the game. I lay it out so you can play it out.
Now, I have some questions to follow up in particular. Now, you were talking about you dancing in the mirror from time to time.
For sure.
And I have to follow up with some questions about the Sleepy Jones that I'm seeing coming outside
what's the word? Holla at me.
So when you are dancing in the mirror, are you in fact wearing your Constellation PJs that you had on in that video that you put out there?
Sometimes.
Okay.
I also have a nice stripe set, as the people saw.
I did see the stripe set as well.
So I frequent between the two.
Between the two pairs of Sleepy Jones pajamas.
Yes, sir.
Interesting indeed. Now, I want to understand, if I had to alert the authorities about a man dancing in star-studded pajamas, quite literally, who is the proper channel to go through first?
That's something I couldn't figure out for you. You would have to figure that out on your own. It sounds like you hating, brother.
I'm gonna make sure.
I don't know what type of sleepwear you have, but because my sleepwear is elevated,
it's elite.
You know, go look at the prices. You know what I'm saying? Go look at that PJ Constellation set. It's gonna set you back a couple shillings.
So what you're saying is you're relaxing responsibly in style.
Oh, you goddamn right, I'm relaxing responsibly.
Let the people know how you're relaxing over here, man.
I'm always diving into documentaries these days. I feel like once I hit 30, I no longer watch, mindless TV. I just go straight to documentary. Not that documentaries are all fact, but it's just like, let me learn something and not just kind of be a potato on this couch.
I feel you. It makes you feel like you're learning, but you can still be very much out on the couch.
Exactly. You can still be on the couch, but now I feel like I'm taking in something. I got into the Andre Leon Talley documentary on HBO Max. So rest in peace to him. I don't even know what title to give him per se, just because he did so many different things. And if you aren't familiar with him, you should definitely check out that documentary. But one thing that really stuck out to me was just his knowledge of craft. You take away the way he looked, the way he dressed, the way he sounded, all of that. His knowledge of the stuff that he cared about, that being, the fashion houses and Vogue and the history of things, stood out the most. Anna Wintour, all of the Vogue people, it was like, yo, he taught me some stuff. And it's just like, I see that type of drive in a Kobe, in a Jordan, any athlete that literally went past whatever was required and did even more off the strength because they loved it. And I feel like that is really what I pulled from that documentary. A lot of other things too, because he was really, truly just a pioneer, but that was how I was relaxing responsibly. Finding inspiration in that.
It's fun to find that level of inspiration, that level of mastery in the people that we celebrate every day. The ones that are the exceptions to the rules. But if you look hard enough, I really do think you can find that in everyday people too, man. So I went out to the spot Lunatico in the Style. You know the space, right?
Nope.
So it's a live music, like little eatery in Bed-Stuy, right?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. You was there with L?
Yeah, was hanging out over there. And the bartender behind the counter had that same level of mastery for everything he was talking about. Yeah. Where it's kind of like, I got a lesson in how many different types of agave-based drinks that are not tequila and mezcal that lives out here that I had no idea. Half the stuff that I was calling wasn't what it actually was calling. Like, this guy was the Bill Nye of cocktails over here. I'm trying to tell you.
Bill.
I felt like I was like, where are you taking me right now? Like, where are we going? Like, if there was I don't know what a sommelier is just for cocktails, but I promise you, the history of spirits this guy was giving me for every single selection that was behind the counter. And then talk about, turn around, look at the label, look at what that says, look at how they made it. This is handmade here, there, or whatever. It's fascinating to see somebody be a master in whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because I really do think you're tapping into the keys of life that really give you purpose and give you a direction that you need to be going into. I want to be that obsessed about whatever I'm doing in life. Because if I'm that obsessed about it, I have to be having a good time. Everything else is just
supplementary.
It's noise at the end of the day. And, hopefully you can if you can live that passionately about something that you get to feed your family with, man, that's something that I always want to do. So I had to shout out everybody that was over there. Shout out to the homie Brian behind the bar, because he gave me some damn lessons in that.
See, I was in my hood and they ain't hit me, is what I'm hearing from this whole story. Because I got some follow-up questions for you, Tone.
So when we talked about the circle of friends.
Word. Now we talking about the circle of friends, because you was in my backyard. Because that's literally...
I was not a part of that first story.
It's about 4 blocks away from where I live. So I see where our friendship stands.
I felt the disturbance when you had your gathering. So I had a retaliatory gathering. That's
Understood. So we're going to just ask you now, what are you hoping for, Brother
I'm
Tone?
hopeful that we could go out and mend this friendship.
Ain't no coming back. You called me a Justin Bieber fan.
A believer.
Yeah, you called me a believer. That's already...
A believer. You had to be that.
You said it 3 times, and I'm still not acknowledging it, so you're still going. Then you went out 4 blocks from the crib and was getting drinks from the sommelier of cocktails and didn't think, yo, I should hit my guy because this cocktail is so good. Understood.
So I'm hopeful that we can move forward and find a day that we too can share said cocktail. Shout out to Brian again, because I'm hopeful that I'll be there soon. Have another one of these legendary cocktails, my friend.
You keep your cocktail, brother.
What are you hopeful for coming up into this week, bro?
Man, I am hopeful that people stop doubting themselves. They stop blocking their blessings.
Okay.
They put that plan into action to get that shit that they said they want, that they need to get.
Okay.
Just like that.
Putting everything out on the table, making yourself accountable. The more people you tend to tell about that kind of stuff, the more you kind of have to show up when that ticket gets called, man. So that's one of the things I always like to try to do. So I'm hopeful for that to happen too. And Brother Jones, much like you are hopeful for all of that, I hope that I can execute at that level coming into this week, man. I got a couple pitches coming across for some of the stuff that we've been doing in this bike life. And I really am hopeful that I get the chance to express myself to the fullest that I can. So previously on the Off the Strength podcast, I was shooting a documentary last year before I got hit by this van.
Oh, were you?
Yeah. That kind of put a clip on this whole, bike film festival, seeing where that's going to go.
Just a little.
So I'm trying to embrace the power of the pivot. And with that, took a little bit of a second. On the advice of my spiritual advisor, I injected some time into my equation. And with that time, I've been observing a lot of different things. And I want to put the observations into this execution that I'm coming in with this week. And I want to make sure that I bring the full squad to the table. Brother Jones, that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm hopeful that we get a chance to speak the way that we need to speak.
Don't sound like you're trying to do it, brother. It sounds like you're doing it.
Exactly, man.
So there you go. So
exactly.
that's not even going to be a hope. We're going to put that into fruition right there because that's already happening.
Blessed it.
And I'm going to tell you this real quick.
The sun stays out a little bit longer. I feel like we slowly inching into that territory of spring. The fact that Groundhog's Day is a thing and it's coming up, it's February 4th, by the way, I looked. And the fact that we still go by that as a barometer of when spring is going to come earlier or later is crazy to me.
Do we still do that?
Yes.
Like, didn't Bill de Blasio kill like a groundhog one year? And we thought that was not a thing to do anymore? Did that not happen? We watched him drop a small furry woodland creature on his neck?
I cannot comment on such a thing. But the fact that was a thing is still problematic. It's like, we just going to pull this animal out of his hole and he's going to tell us what happens.
I know a big rat when I see it. I'm not impressed by any of this. You've
been in New York long enough.
Yeah, I was about to say, I know a New York rat. A double hump rat is what he pulled out of there. It was a rat that was big enough to be a small camel. I understand what I saw. And he dropped that thing on his neck. We should not let him do this again. We got to keep these animals away from these people.
Again, I'm going to leave that to the people. I'm not going to comment on that. I'm going to let it be what it is, Brother Tone.
Brother Jones, you got anything else you want to put on the people this week, man?
Stop listening to podcasts of people you don't know and you don't care about. Period. Let's just put that
across
right
the board.
That's number one.
That's PSA.
Wash your hands.
There we go. Okay, we're bringing that back. I'm not even mad. It was an oldie but goodie. I appreciate it. These are solid information.
That was solid information there.
Yeah.
Wash your hands. Be wary of who you call friend. Make sure you do not use that as loosely as people are on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, we have now uploaded videos to YouTube. And by we, I mean I.
There we go. Take all the credit.
I have put the videos on YouTube. So you know what that means for you as a listener? If you've listened to the podcast this long, goddammit, that means you want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So I need you to take your ass to YouTube and click Off the Strength Clips. You're going to see the brick wall. You're going to see all the episodes. There's at least 12 of them up there. Maybe 13.
Got
You
it.
can spend your whole day just seeing us on camera because it's a sight to see.
Getting those gems too.
It's a beautiful time. Ain't really no gems in there just yet, solely because it's clipped. It ain't the whole thing. It's just to tease the palette so you can see what we look like on your TV.
Yeah.
Live in color.
I think we look pretty good on the big screen, man.
I look good every goddamn day, but that's just me. That's not for everybody else. That's just how I give it up.
I appreciate it.
You know what I mean? Even in the day when we might have had 3 interviews back to back, and I might have changed the fit just slightly.
Slight change.
3 different times, but know that I put that effort in there for you to watch.
He did it off the strength, folks. That's exactly it.
Off the strength.
He's been painting this canvas for the longest time, so please go out to the YouTube page and appreciate this canvas, much like we need you to appreciate us here now that we're recording at Newsstand Studio.
You can visit us on Instagram at Rockefeller Center or on Twitter at Rock Center NYC.
That's right, folks. If you got a show, you got to record. Come on down here, see the good people. And Brother Jones, I think that's going to be it from this week.
Yay!
Once again, it's been another fantastic episode of Off the Strength. I'm a trainer called Tony.
KR Jones.
Peace and much love to y'all out there. Until next time, we'll see you soon.
Peace.
What's good, everybody? I'm a trainer called Tony, and I am here from the infamous Off the Strength podcast, asking you today, listeners, viewers, wherever you may be, to please like, listen, and subscribe to our podcast. This is how we're going to continue to be able to deliver you the best goddamn wellness information out here. So if you want to keep hearing this and you want us to keep growing, you are a part of this show just as much as anything else. So please go to offthestrength.com. Make sure you check out our blogs. Make sure you check us out on IG. And if you're hearing this voice and you didn't hit that subscribe button, know that Kyle is going to come looking for you.
You got that right.